Hello students, and a very warm welcome. Today, we are going to do a complete and quick revision of the chapter, Improvement in Food Resources. Think of this as your final guide to help you ace your exams. So, are you ready? Let's get started.
First things first, let's ask a very basic question. Why do we even need to improve our food production? I mean, we see food everywhere, don't we? So what is the big reason behind this constant effort? Let's find out.
Well, the answer is in this number. India's population, as you know, is over 1 billion, and it is still growing. Now, to defeat such a massive population, we need a huge amount of food every single year. But the land we have for farming is limited. It's not increasing, right? So we have to become smarter. We must find ways to grow more food on the same amount of land.
And this brings us to a very important concept, food security. Now, what does this mean? See, it has two parts. First is availability, which means there should be enough food produced in the country. But that's not all. The second part is access, which means every person should also have enough money to buy that food. When both availability and access are there, we can say a country is food secure.
Okay, so how do we actually increase our crop yields? Well, it is a scientific process, and it can be broken down into 3 main steps. You can think of these as the 3 pillars for getting a better harvest.
Please remember these 3 steps. They are very important. First, we have crop variety improvement. This is all about choosing the right kind of seed. Second is crop production improvement. This is about how we take care of the plant as it grows. And third is crop protection management, which is about protecting the plant and the final grain. Let's look at each one.
So, when we talk about improving the crop variety, what are we looking for? Well, we want a seed that gives a higher yield, more grain. We want improved quality, better nutrition. It should have resistance to biotic factors like diseases and abiotic factors like drought. We want it to have a shorter maturity duration so it grows faster. And of course, wider adaptability so it can grow in different climates. Basically, we're trying to create a kind of super plant.
All right, so once we have our super seed, our job is not done. Now we move to the second and third steps, managing its production and ensuring its protection. This is all about nurturing the crop from the day it is sown to the day it is stored safely.
Now, just like we need food to grow, plants also need nutrients. They get these nutrients from 3 sources: air, water, and soil. We divide these nutrients into 2 groups. Macronutrients are those which plants need in large quantities, and micronutrients are those which are needed in very small quantities. You can see the complete list right here.
Okay, time for a quick question for you. This is very common in exams. Can you name the 3 main macronutrients that are often supplied to the soil using fertilizers? The hint is NPK. Do you remember? Yes, that's nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Very good.
And this leads us to another very important exam topic: the difference between manure and fertilizers. So manure is organic, it adds humus to the soil, and improves its health in the long run. Fertilizers, on the other hand, are chemical substances. They give a quick supply of specific nutrients, like NPK. But if we use them too much, they can actually damage the soil over time.
What's the next most important thing for a plant after nutrients? Water, of course. We cannot always depend on rainfall, so we need irrigation systems to supply water to our farms. In India, we use many different systems, like wells, which can be dug wells or tube wells, canals, river lift systems, and tanks.
Now, farmers use some very clever cropping patterns. Let's look at the first one: mixed cropping. In this, the seeds of 2 or more crops are mixed together and sown on the field. For example, wheat and gram. What's the biggest advantage? Well, it reduces the risk. If one crop fails due to disease, the other crop is likely to survive. It's like an insurance policy for the farmer.
Next, we have intercropping. Now, this is a little different. Here also, we grow 2 or more crops together, but in a definite pattern. For example, you might see a few rows of soybean, then a few rows of maize, and so on. This pattern helps to make sure that the nutrients in the soil are used in the best way possible.
This table is very important for your exams. It summarizes the cropping patterns. So, to recap, mixed cropping is about insurance against failure. Intercropping is about maximum use of nutrients. And the third one, crop rotation, which means growing different crops one after the other, is done to maintain the soil's fertility over a long time. Please take a moment to understand this table well.
So, after all this hard work,
Is our crop safe? Not yet. There are many threats. There are weeds, which are unwanted plants that compete for food and water. There are insect pests that eat the crop, and there are diseases caused by bacteria, fungi, and viruses. And even after we harvest the crop, we have to store it properly, protecting it from insects, rodents, and moisture.
All right, let's change topics now. So far, we've talked about plants. Now let's discuss animal-based food resources. The scientific management of livestock is called animal husbandry. It's all about taking proper care of animals to get milk, eggs, and meat from them.
Let's start with cattle farming. We raise cattle for two main purposes. Milk animals, like cows and buffaloes, are raised for milk, and draught animals, like bullocks, are used for farm labor. A very important practice here is crossbreeding. We cross an exotic breed, like a Jersey cow, which gives a lot of milk, with a local breed, like a Sahiwal, which has good resistance to diseases. This gives us a new breed that has both good qualities.
Next up, poultry farming. Now, please remember the difference between the two main types of birds we raise. Layers are the birds which are raised for laying eggs. Broilers, on the other hand, are raised for meat. They are given a special protein-rich diet so that they grow fast. So, it's simple. Layers for eggs, broilers for meat.
Moving on, let's talk about two other very important practices: fisheries, which is fish production, and beekeeping, or apiculture. Both of these are very important sources of food and income for many people in our country.
Now, in fish farming, there is a very efficient technique called composite fish culture. What happens here is that 5 or 6 different types of fish species are grown together in the same pond. But won't they fight with each other for food? Let's see how this works.
Well, the secret is that we choose fish species that have different food habits. For example, the catlefish feeds on the surface of the pond, the rohu feeds in the middle zone, and the mriga is a bottom feeder. This way, all the food available in the pond at different levels is used up, and the fish do not compete with each other. It's a very clever system.
So, what is the biggest advantage of this system? Can you guess? It is a very high yield. Because all the resources in the pond are being used efficiently, we get a much larger production of fish from a single pond. This is the key benefit of composite fish culture.
As we come to the end of this revision, I want you to reflect on this important idea. All these scientific practices for increasing food production are great, but we must always remember to practice them in a sustainable way, without harming our environment or disturbing the natural balance.
So, to conclude, using scientific practices in agriculture and animal husbandry is the key to achieving food security for our nation. By learning about these topics, you are not just preparing for an exam, you are understanding how we can build a future where everyone has enough food to eat. I wish you all the very best for your exams. Study well.